Hello. So today's story is a Batman story. 今天的故事是蝙蝠侠的故事，是蝙蝠侠和 Poison Ivy 的故事。And we know Batman's real name is Bruce Wayne. Okay, so Batman and the Toxic Terror.
What's that mean?
Toxic 是有毒的意思 right? Terror 是恐怖的事情。So, as the sun rose in Gotham City, billionaire Bruce Wayne woke up inside Wayne Manor. He got out of bed, threw on a robe, and walked into his nearby study. 这天早上，亿万富翁 Bruce Wayne 早上起来以后就开始看电视。His loyal butler, Alfred Pennyworth, was already there, pouring Bruce his morning cup of coffee. 这是他忠心的管家来给他倒咖啡喝，然后 Bruce 一边喝咖啡一边在看电视上的新闻。So Bruce turned on his flat screen TV and changed the channel to the local news. And on TV, this person is named Claire. She's a reporter. 这个记者说 Happy Earth Day, Gotham City. 今天是地球日。I'm coming to you live from Harris Park. 我在公园给大家做报道。Today, this piece of nature will be bulldozed to make way for a brand new shopping mall. 这个记者在报道，他们城市的公园会被怎么样？会被 construction vehicle 把它推平，然后要建一个新的 shopping mall， 一个新的商场在那里。And Bruce did not like that. He couldn't believe it because the park was a city treasure. 这个公园是所有人的公园，如果把它推平了，建了一个大大的商场，那这些小朋友啊，还有一些小动物啊，都没有地方住，都没有地方玩了。And Bruce wasn't the only one who was upset by what was happening to the park. Bruce 不只有他一个人不开心。Who else was unhappy? This is the super villain called Poison Ivy. Ivy 是一种绿色的植物，是个常青藤。She's a villain. And she was watching the bulldozers and cameras on TV as well. 她也在看电视。And she says, My park, my festival of foliage. What are those people doing? She screamed. If Gotham City's politicians have their way, soon every square block will be a slab of concrete. I've got to stop them. So why does she want to stop the people from turning the park into a mall? Because 虽然他是一个坏人，但是呢，他是一个保护植物的人 right? So Poison Ivy jumped from her treehouse and began planning her attack. 他要开始攻击这一些把公园推平的人。And back at Wayne Manor, Bruce called all of his wealthy friends and business partners and every government official he knew. 他开始给一些很有钱和很有权有势的人打电话。He said, Why is precious green space being sacrificed for another mall? 我们已经有很多商场了，我们为什么还要把最后的这个公园也推倒呢？He said, some of these trees are 100 years old, 有些树已经超过100岁了，把它们推倒，然后建一个 shopping mall 是非常可惜的事情。But suddenly, a breaking news report on the television interrupted Bruce's phone call. 突然一下子，他注意到电视上 there's a breaking news. 在发生什么事情呢？ So he turned his eyes back to the screen. And on TV, it said, We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to bring you this breaking story. 实况正在发生的事情。In a mysterious turn of Earth Day events, people here are turning into trees. 奇怪的事情发生了，在地球日这一天，公园里面的这些工人，在施工的这些人，突然变成了树。And Bruce and Alfred watched in horror as innocent Gotham citizens standing in the park found their legs started growing roots into the ground like tree trunks. 这些人他们的腿突然长出了树根，手也变成了树枝 and their arms turned stiff as branches. Bruce knew what was going on. He turned off the TV. He said, There's only one person who could do this. Who was it? Poison Ivy. 只有一个人可以做到这件事情，就是 Poison Ivy. So Bruce raced to his secret hideout, hidden deep below his house, which is the Batcave. And inside the Batcave, Bruce changed into his costume, Batman. Bruce 在这里变身成为了蝙蝠侠。His suit weapons, and vehicles stood ready to help him fight the city's criminals. 他的所有的秘密武器，还有他的蝙蝠侠的衣服，都藏在他的 Wayne Manor 下面的山洞里。And in Harris Park, Poison Ivy was on a rampage. That means she was going around turning people into trees. And how did she do it? 她是怎么把人变成树的？ She sprayed a toxin. 她把一种毒液，有毒的一种液体喷到了这些人的身上。And she was turning the people into an army of trees. 被她变成树的人越来越多了。很快，她拥有了一个什么？树人大军。Batman zoomed into downtown Gotham City on his Bat Cycle. 他今天没有开他的车，他骑的是他的摩托车。And he passed dozens of people who had been transformed into trees. So block after city block, they stood frozen in conversation. 这些人都不动了。They're looking at their watches, they're talking, they're drinking coffee, but they looked exactly like they would be doing, except they were trees. 所以这些人，他们看上去就在做他们平常在做的事情，只不过他们变成了树人。Pulling into a screeching halt at Harris Park, Batman found two scared park rangers huddled outside the gates. 这是两个公园的护林员，他们非常的害怕。They're pointing, They said, "She ran that way." The taller one yelled, 我看到她跑到这边去了。这个时候呢，公园已经变成什么样子了？变成了一个 jungle. Following the ranger's tip, Batman entered the park. He used his razor-sharp batarang to tear through the thickets and tangled vines before him. 他需要把这些变成已经长成一个 jungle， 变成一个非常茂密的热带雨林的公园呢，他需要用他的尖尖的暗器才能把这些树藤给它割断，才能进去。And in only a few hours, Poison Ivy turned a friendly neighborhood park into an impenetrable jungle. And from high above, Poison Ivy was watching Batman. Poison Ivy 坐在树上，从高高的树枝上面在看 Batman. She knew that Batman would come, and she was ready for him. 她已经准备好了。She said, "Congratulations, you made it through the maze, and here's your prize." 她说，我知道你会来的，我给你准备了一个大大的奖品。What was it? Suddenly, Batman was ambushed by two tree people. The hero reached for his utility belt, preparing to pull out one of his many weapons. 他被两个树人抓住了。Batman 准备反击的时候，但是记起了一件事情 which was he remembered that these trees were actually people, right? They've just been transformed by Ivy's toxin. He couldn't hurt them, right? 他不能伤害这些树人啊。And Poison Ivy said, "You Gotham people think you can do whatever you want to the earth, but the city will be better off with all the people gone and an army of trees taking their place, and that is exactly what will happen." Poison Ivy 说，你们这些人不懂得爱护城市，不懂得爱护你们的地球。Well， 不懂得爱护地球的人会怎样？还不如把你们全部都变成树。But Batman said, "I don't think so." And he freed himself from the tree branches and grabbed his grapnel gun from his utility belt. He said, "I'm going to uproot your evil scheme." 他说我会把你的邪恶的计划连根拔起。他说我不能让你把这些人全部都变成树人。So he freed himself without hurting the tree people. And bang! The caped crusader fired his grapnel gun at the fleeing villain. A super strong wire launched through the air, and it hit Poison Ivy, wrapping around her like a vine. Poison Ivy 准备逃走的时候 ，Batman 用他的这是一个什么 grapnel gun， 这是一把枪，枪里面有一个长长的钢丝，他用这个钢丝把它发射出去，然后呢就把 Poison Ivy 给捆起来了。And she yelled, "I will finish the job! You cannot stop me!" But Batman said, "There are safer ways to protect the environment, Ivy." 他说什么？他说你想保护环境很好，但是呢 you can't do it to hurt other people. 有更安全的保护地球的方法。While the police took Poison Ivy into jail, Batman raced back to the Batcave. He needed to find an antidote for all the people who had been harmed. What's an antidote? Antidote 是解药 right? It's a medicine that makes you better right? After you're poisoned. 所以当警察把 Poison Ivy 抓到监狱里面去的时候呢 Batman 就回家了，做了一个什么出来 right? He made, what did he make? 他回家回到他的 Batman Cave， 这里有一个 Science Lab， 他和 Alfred 一起做了一个解药出来 and then he put the antidote right in this little backpack with a spray on it and with Alfred's help he was ready so he flew back to the park right he put on his bat glider wings 他背上了这个装有解药的书包然后书包上面有一个喷头 and he flew through the park and what happened to the people, the tree people? He sprayed them with the antidote, right? 他把这个解药喷到这些变成树人的人的身上，他们又返回人的样子了 right? They turn back into people. And the tree, they shed their branches, the roots started moving. 这些树根重新又变成脚了，这些树枝呢重新又变成手了 and fingers, and they were human again. And the next day, what happened? The next morning, Bruce Wayne woke up and watched the TV. 第二天早上 right, billionaire Bruce Wayne 像往常一样喝着他的咖啡，看着早上的新闻。And the morning news it said, right, this is the mayor 市长在电视上 and he's at the park. 他在剪彩，他在剪什么彩蛋 He said, thanks to a generous donation by Wayne Enterprises, today we turn Harris Park into a forest reserve for all the people of Gotham City to enjoy for generations. And the mayor cut a big red ribbon. What happened? How did Bruce Wayne save the park? 原来 Bruce Wayne 用很多很多钱 right? 他赞助了这个城市，将公园变成了不仅仅是一个公园 right? 把它变成了一个保护区 That means right, no developers can turn the park into a mall ever again. Right? 这个地方只是让动物和一些人可以来这边玩的一个保护区 It's a forest reserve. And then Bruce said to Alfred, a much better place to visit than a mall. Do you guys agree? Right? Do you agree with Bruce Wayne? That a park, right, 公园比商场更好玩 right? Okay, 我们今天的故事就讲到这里 Bye!